Hello, welcome to this video. In this video, I will tell you what shadow work is, why it is good if you do shadow work and what are the benefits, and how to do that. Okay? So I will explain it for beginners and people who are new to that. And first of all, what is shadow work? Okay, let's start with that. So shadow work has to do a lot with making the unconscious conscious. What do I mean with that? So when we were children, we started to suppress something in us because maybe we learned that there's something right, and this opposite to it, something is wrong. For example, let's say your parents were harmonious. So you learned that being harmonious is good, but being direct or addressing conflicts is bad. So you started to suppress something in yourself. Because our ego develops when we are children, we start to see the world in right and wrong. And it means that something of us, a side of us will be suppressed and the other side will be not suppressed, right? And to put it even more simple, it's about overcoming any resistance towards this denial that we learned. The shadow side of our ego, the ego of humanity, is that it tries to keep you safe by protecting you from something, right? And it makes that by denying something, trying to look away from something. Shadow work is basically the opposite. It's looking at something, looking at this resistance towards this denial. And as you do that, the shadow starts to disappear. Because since you made the unconscious conscious, the shadow will stop to disappear. And why is it now necessary to do that? What does it bring to you if you do that? So what it brings to you is that as you do that, you start to be more integrated. You start to be more complete. Okay? You're more of a complete person. That means this denial towards yourself or other people stops. I give you an example, a very simple example based from my day-to-day life. This is how I started many years ago. I think when I was 21 or 22, I'm not sure anymore. I realized something. I was looking at people and I thought, man, these people are ignorant. People are really ignorant. This is what I thought back then. For some kind of reason, I had this thought sometimes. And I think because I was journaling and doing meditation, one day I thought, wait, maybe I'm the one who's ignorant. And I really started to think about it and face it. And it started to disappear, just accepted it. I thought, yeah, I think it's true. And as I accepted that, I stopped denying that. And so I didn't have this mechanism anymore to be myself ignorant when people told me something or when I was seeing signs. And because of that, I could rise. So my self-esteem started to rise. I started to get to the next level because I was no longer ignoring things. So what shadow works allows you is to rise your self-esteem, to become more complete, and also it reduces over time your coping mechanism that you learned, or your self-sabotaging mechanism that you sabotaged your success or something else, your relationships. As you do shadow work, these start to reduce more and more. Okay, this is my experience. And so how does this now work if you do shadow work, right? So like I said at the start, it's about making the unconscious conscious. That means I will give you multiple exercises. One thing that you can find out more about your shadow, just look about 3 to 5 type of people that you don't like. It can be also be communities that you don't like, people or communities. Okay? So the people you dislike very hard or even hate, so the type of people, they say very often something about your shadow, and there are 2 options why you usually hate them or don't like them very much. This is either because you have this aspect in yourself, but you don't want to look at it. Okay, so there's something in yourself that is similar, and you suppress that in yourself, or you live it out excessively. So one of these two extremes, you either live it out excessively, or you don't live it out at all, but actually wish to, right? For example, when I started out personal development, I had a friend, and this guy, he was very masculine, okay? And so I kind of hated him, but actually at the same time, I wanted to be, to some degree, be like him, okay? So I was very angry and pissed off very often about him, but at the same time, I wanted to also be actually like that. That's the paradox. So if you realize the paradox within you as you do shadow work, nothing is wrong with you. It's just that most people have that, but they don't know that. So as you make it more conscious, this is already a sign that you improve. So your consciousness improves. As your consciousness improves, consciousness is the first pillar of self-esteem. It means your self-esteem rises. Okay. So yeah, write down 3 to 5 people down that you don't like and or hate, and then look what kind of trait exactly is triggering you about them. So what kind of pattern or trait exactly is triggering about them? Maybe it can be that they're over harmonious or super direct. Okay, that can be an example. The other thing that you do is just also look in your day-to-day life, just what triggers you. Just when you start to feel resistance. What helps to realize this resistance when you generally meditate, like at least 10 to 20 minutes per day, because then your consciousness improves about yourself, that you can observe your thoughts, your emotions better. So I recommend you to meditate 10 to 20 minutes and just observe. For example, in my case, when I was seeing that people seemed to me ignorant, it was actually, I saw myself through them, right? So the world reflects to you always back who you are or what you are at the core, right? So the issues will always be reflected back to us. We can't escape ourselves. And shadow work's basically facing that and realizing, okay, yes, everything is within us. That means also all the potential. And now we use that and transform that. Another thing that you can do is just to ask yourself, okay, what is something that you deny about yourself? Just simply ask questions and look, what do you deny about yourself? What are you ashamed of, or where do you feel guilt? And then look, write down what it is, write down your thoughts about that. Write down your thoughts, write down how you feel about that. I will also do that with the first exercise, that you write down how you feel about these people, your thoughts that you have against them or towards them. It helps you down to start already to accept them better by writing it down and allowing this feeling to be, letting it out from your mind. And one of the last steps is basically, when you feel in this emotion, by writing it down or by thinking these people, you can simply then relax, sit down, and start to meditate. First, I will just breathe in 3 to 5 times deeply in and out, sit relaxed, and then start to feel this feeling in your body, this resistance. This resistance appears very often at the start in form of an emotion, right? And you just allow this emotion to be for a while. And once you notice at least that you're willing consciously, even if you still feel resistance, to move towards this emotion, right? Ask yourself, what is the message of this emotion, right? What does this emotion tries to tell you? So as you do that, what you do next is that you ask yourself, okay, what is the message of this emotion? What does this emotion wants to tell you? And then you ask yourself, okay, when was the first time I felt this emotion? And if you are already ready and you don't try to force it with the mind, very often a memory comes up from your childhood. Okay? When it doesn't come from the childhood, you ask yourself, when was the first time I felt it? When you see something else when you were an adult or something like that, or a teenager. And you just experience that. You allow yourself to experience it in a safe space. I will do it when you are at home in a safe space, no one is bothering you. Okay? And by allowing this fully, by going through this experience, by observing that, this is how you accept all of that. So you accept yourself, you accept this part that had this resistance, that you could back then not proceed as a child. Okay? I will start slowly and start at least first with the journaling part and the meditation with 10 to 20 minutes, where you just journal about your shadows and the 3 to 5 type of people that trigger you, where you write it all down, your resistance towards them, your emotions, your thoughts about them. Right? So, yeah, and that's it. I hope this video helped you, and see you next time.